Welcome to this week's training webinar. I'm Susan Arnold, Implementation Specialist here at Claritysoft. Today we're going to cover Claritysoft for beginners. What we're going to cover is the modules themselves and do a quick overview summary of what each module does and learn some navigation techniques within the software. Talk about the screen layout because in Claritysoft as a user you may change the screen. You can see different columns of data according to what you want to see and how you need to work in the database. And then we're going to go through a basic workflow of starting with a lead record and walking it all the way through the whole system to completing a sale. And the other thing I want to mention is we do have 3 applications with our Claritysoft. We have Claritysoft Live, which is our web-based version. That's what we'll be working with today. We have the mobile version, which you can access on your smartphone. Besides using the web address here, we now have an app that you can download for either an iPhone or an Android phone. So you can go out and find those apps and install them on your phone. And then the third version is our offline version that actually gets installed on your computer. This you would only need to use if you were in situations where you do not have access to an internet connection or even a phone data connection. You're just really remote and you can download it, install the offline version on your computer, and it actually creates a local copy of the database on your local computer. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. When you're using Claritysoft Live, as I said, it is web-based, and we recommend that you use Google Chrome. It is the most compatible with. You open your Google Chrome, and then in the address line, you're going to type claritycrm.com. Press enter, and you will come to this login screen. And then you enter your login name, the password that you have, and your database name. Your login name and the database name are not case sensitive, so even though the database might have caps in it, you don't have to type the caps. So it will take it. Password obviously is. Then if you want the system to remember who you are, so the next time you come back to the login screen, the only thing you have to enter is the password. You can click in the Remember Me. I usually don't do that because I log in and out of many different databases all the time. So you click Sign In and you will come into your database. Now, depending how things are set up, you may land in the Accounts module, or it's possible you may land in this home screen. And if you land on the home screen, chances are it is completely blank. So then you say, well, okay, now what do I do? So I think I'll start here with the home screen and what it's for. As you can see, there are some numbers up here. There are some charts or dashboards here. This is a place where you can display data being pulled from your database. To set it up, you click on this little gear shape button up here in the upper left. That's your settings button, and you may go to key indicators. It will give you a list of all the possible indicators that you might want to have. So for example, I have accounts added year to date. And so far, there are none because I haven't added anything for this current year. I can uncheck that to turn it off, and then I could turn on something else. So each user has control over this. If you're just starting with Claritysoft, you probably won't have much data in here, so it won't be too impressive when you first start. You may have up to 4 of these options selected, and you may pick them, and again, it's user controlled. Then for your charts, you go back to the settings button and choose chart indicators, and you have a list of all your different charts. Now, I have more charts here than you're going to see because I have a lot of different charts or dashboards that I've created and saved in the dashboards module, which tells you that if you go to the dashboards module and create your own charts, they will show up in this list. So you can create your own, save them, and then you may access them here. So again, you may have up to 4 showing at a time. My year-to-date numbers are empty because it's a brand new year, so you can click in the check boxes to show them. So if your home screen is where you land and there's nothing there, that's how to set it up. So when you come into Claritysoft, as I said, you might land in home, you might land in accounts. You also can choose to land anywhere you want in the database, depending on where you want to start for the day. So what you do is over here on the right-hand side is a settings button, a gear shape. You click on it, and then under this My Settings section, preferences will automatically be highlighted, and you come over here and you'll set your time zone. You can choose what date format you want to display in the database, and you can set your calendar view. For example, if I prefer to see the work week view rather than the day view, and this is where you set your default module. So you can set it to the home screen, you can set it to any module, and then you just simply click apply, and then the next time you log out and log back in, it will land on the module that you have selected as the default module. So now I'm going to go to accounts, and on the left side here in this area is what we call the navigation panel. So over here you see all your different modules listed. Again, I probably have more modules listed than you might see, and this all depends on which level of Claritysoft you have purchased and if your admin user has given you access to all the modules. You may not see everything here, so don't panic. It's set up the way it's supposed to be. To navigate to different modules, you simply click on the module name, and then you will see a list of all the records. At the bottom of the screen, you will see how many records you have in that module. So I have 308 accounts, and my 308 accounts are currently displaying 20 per page. I can change this to do 50 or 100. And the difference is that if I choose 100, it doesn't change the size of the data, but over here now I can scroll to see 100 records before I would need to go to the next page. And on this side at the bottom, I see how many pages there are. And if I wanted to go to the next page, I can do that. I will say you probably won't scroll from page to page very much. Most of the time, what you're going to do is actually search for a specific account, and I will show you that in a few minutes. Okay. Then if I go to contacts, I'm going to see my information listed by the contact person. So I can see here that I have multiple account names that are all the same because these people all work for the same company, are all contacts for the same company. So at the contact level, I'm seeing each person individually. At the account level, I'm seeing only the companies or business organizations. So you can see I have one of 3M Company New York. But if I open the record, and notice I'm clicking on this little file folder icon to open it, I have 3M Company, and when I open a record, this set of tabs appears. And notice that these tabs all have the names of the various modules over here. So I see contacts, and I see activities, and opportunities, quotes, and sales. Well, when I click on a tab, I then see all of the information that's associated with this account record. And so these are all the people that you saw separately in the contacts module. You see everything at the account level. And if I click on the tabs, open activities are all the activities that are scheduled or in process, and then closed activities are your completed activities. And so you can see everything that you've done. You can see who did the activity. And then when you click on a subject, it opens the record, and you would be able to view any notes that are in here as well. So everything is associated with an account first and a contact second. because so you can see who the contact was with this activity. The next thing I wanted to talk about is your screen layout here. You have different columns, and when you first log into Claritysoft, it has these 4 columns by default, which are helpful but not terrific, especially if you've added a number of custom fields to your database. You may want to display those custom fields in the columns because you might have categories and you might have other pieces of information that you would like to see in the columns. You don't want to have to open every single record to view that data. So we do have a way, and again, this is individual user controls, so what one person does not affect anyone else. But you come over here to the right and click on this vertical ellipsis button, and you go to Column Settings, and then on the left, you're going to see all your available columns. And they will be in alphabetic order. This will include all of your custom fields as well. So for example, I want to maybe drag city over here. I can push it anywhere I want. Website I don't want, so I'm going to pull it over to the left and drop it, and it will reset itself as to where it's supposed to be when I close out of here. And let's see, what do I want? A helpful field is last touch date. I'm going to pull that over just to show you how that works. And maybe I want product interest, and I want sector, and type, because I know these are ones. And then I also want state. So again, you can pull as many over as you want, depending, on the width of the columns. It might get a little crowded. And then owner is the owner of the record. If you don't care about seeing that, that's fine. If you can see all records in the database, you might want to see the owner who owns the record. If not, then you can drag it out of the way. Down here at the bottom, results per page. The default is 20. You can set it to 50 or 100. So if I change it to 100 here and click apply, then that means when I log out and log back in, it's always going to be 100. I want to jump up here now to the top of the screen, because these are buttons and places up here that are in each of the modules, and they all work basically the same way from module to module. So we're going to work here in the accounts module to do some of these techniques. With your different columns, one of the things you may want to do is to be able to search on the sector or the type or the product interest. Okay, so here we have our spyglass button, and if I go to advanced search, I get, first of all, a form filter tab where I can put criteria in the fields here. I also have a standard filter where I can set up different criteria. I have a time filter, which is really kind of cool, especially in reports that you create and in the dashboards, like that one dashboard said accounts added year to date. I might want to go change the time filter to say I want the creation date to be last year. Then I would see my accounts, how many new accounts I created last year. And then I can have another one for this year, this current year. So this time filter is really helpful. I'm going to go back to the form filter, and I want to find all of the sectors where they are manufacturing. And then my type field is, what are they? Are they a customer or prospect? So let me say I want to find all my prospects. So I'm looking for 2 criteria here, those in manufacturing sector and that are prospects. I click search. So now we can see down at the bottom, it always tells you the total number of records. I have 8 accounts that are in the manufacturing sector that are prospects. So this is another reason why you want to use the vertical ellipsis column settings to pull the fields in your columns, so that when you do a search, you can actually see if it is correct or not. Okay, so put those in first, do your filter, your search, and then you can see the results. So that's an advanced search. Now, with advanced search, we now have the capability that if you do a search like this often, instead of having to repeat it and redo it all the time, once you've created it, you can click this little button here to save the view. We call it a view, and I could call this manufacturing prospects and save it. So now, under this list, I have different views or filters that are all saved. So I can go back to all accounts, which would take me back to my 308 records. These are all the accounts. And then I can very quickly say, well, my manufacturing prospects, I want to see them. Boom. Now, the question always comes up, what happens if you add a new prospect in manufacturing? Does it pick it up? Yes, it does, because this is a filter. It's not saving the list. It's a filter that's bringing the list up. So if you add somebody, or let's do this. Let's say that Global Chemical Unlimited has become a customer. So if I open their record and I change their type customer and do a save and close, Global Chemical Unlimited is no longer in my list because it no longer meets the criteria of being a prospect. Okay? So explore this. You can create all kinds of views and save them. And again, your views are your own, however you may share them. So in order to create and save the views, you always want to use the advanced search. And you can see under here, views. This is where all your views are stored. And right here, manufacturing prospects, I could say share it. And then I have a list of all the users in the system, and I can click in any checkbox to share them with other users, and then they will have the same view saved. So that's very quick. Other searching here, global search. This can be helpful if you're using the leads module and you're looking for someone you don't know if they're a lead or or an account or a contact. So you can use the global search to search. And when you first open it, you have to click in the checkbox to say include leads, include contacts. And then I can type part of a company name in here and see what I can find. And right now, offhand, I can't think of who might be where, but we'll put this in. So we've got ABC, and right here we have ABC Company, that's a lead. We have ABC Consulting, that's an account. Then we have two people at the ABC Consultancy that are contacts there. So it will find all the matching records and tell you what module it's in. It will give you information on the contact person if it's there, if it's a contact record, and then the phone, who the owner is, and then you can open details to see some more details about it. And then if I click the go button, it actually takes me to the record. So it's a quick and easy way to find something in a module where, because you can't remember where it is, and then go there. The other way this can be used and is very helpful, in some databases, the people who are users are limited to seeing only their own records in the database. So when they log in, they don't see all the different owners and all the records. They only see the ones where they are the owner. And so maybe they pick up a new lead, or they've got a new possible account or something, and they don't know if that record exists in the database because they can't see it. And so using the global search can allow that person to look up a company that could be a potential lead and see if they are in the database. Oops, I forgot to click my other checkboxes. And see who the owner is. So then that helps them because then they can see, well, who the owner is, and then go talk to that person and say, hey, you know, who are you talking with here? I talked with so-and-so. So that's a good way to do that, or another way to use that global search. And then we have still under here a segment search. This won't be useful to you if you're not using a certain special type of field called a type A1, type A fields, type A2 field, so I'm not going to go into that one. And filter here is the same as going to advanced search and using the standard filter here. I could say I want to find everybody in the state of Ohio. So you have equal, not equal. I usually use contains just because people aren't always consistent in what they type, and it won't always be equal. And then I also want to say, or the state contains Illinois. So in this case, it's looking for two things, either Ohio or Illinois in the state field. On the form filter, I could not do that. I can't type OH and IL in there because it's looking for an exact match and it would not find anything. So you use the other filter to create or situations. And again, you guys can practice with these things. So there now you can see Ohio and see it picked up full Ohio because it contains OH. So it's picking up 59 records that have either Ohio or Illinois. So use these searches, practice with them, and you know, when you show the field, the data fields, it's very easy for you to do. These same search techniques are used in all the other modules. So we're using accounts, but the same thing is available. When you want to clear your advanced search view, you click this little X and that will clear the filter for you. Now, if you're looking for a specific record, this box here is called our quick search box. So again, if I type part of a name, and maybe I don't know how to spell all of it, I can't remember, I just type part of it. Now I'm not touching the keyboard at all. I did not press enter. I just typed it and I waited. So you don't have to do anything. If you press enter, it'll just make it find it a second or two faster. But notice that I get Alliance Global Investors, Global Airways, and Global Chemical. So notice that the GLOB does not need to be at the beginning. It's simply trying to match those characters in the search. So sometimes, especially if you aren't real sure how to spell something, type what you know, keep it somewhat limited, and then when you see a list, you'll probably be able to figure out how to get it down a little bit more. So this is basically how I work. I want to look up a specific account and I just type in there, pull it up, and I go from there with what I want to do. You may work where you're setting up filters and looking for things by sector and type and that sort of thing. So, you know, whatever techniques work for you, you want to do. And then also you can search by users. So you could search for customers that are owned by a particular person. So if I wanted only my own records, then I can search and the owner will become just myself here. So these are all different ways to view the data. To clear things out, you can click the list all button. That will clear filters. This is a refresh button that if you've made a change and you don't notice the change, then you can click the refresh button. So these buttons are all the same across all the different modules. So you want to play with that in each of the modules. Next thing, list actions over here. This is a button that means exactly what it says. It acts upon a list. So you've got group edit, merge, export to Excel, all of that. So you can select records and then you can do something with them. So if I go back here and I pick my manufacturing prospects, let's say I want to email them. Well, the contacts are in the contacts module. I don't have the sector and the type fields in the contacts module, so I can't filter there for that. But what I can do here is I can say, all right, I've got my list. I'm going to select them all, go to List Actions, View Contacts. And then it's going to ask you, do you want to do all select records marked as checked or all filtered records? If your numbers down here, if the total number of records is less than the results per page, then you can do all the ones marked as checked because it only checks off the first batch, okay, or the first page. If it's greater than 100, like if this said 150, then I would do all filtered records. But you can do either one. If you want to just always go on the safe side, you can do all filtered records, and then you're cool. So I'm going to click Apply. And then notice we're changing from accounts to contacts. And now I have 16 records because I have multiple contacts for those selected account records. And so I have 16. And if I want to send to all of them, then I can click in the checkbox, then go to the list actions here in the contacts module and email contacts. So if I do that, you're going to get that same prompt, and then it's going to open an email form, and you'll have a list of all the people over here. It will tell you how many records. There are 15. So either one of the people is missing an email address or one of the people is marked in its record to opt out email. And then you can type your email here or open a template, but I can do this. I can do hello, and you are able to insert fields. So I could put in the first name field, and then I can type my email, and you can bring in a signature. You create your signature in Claritysoft. I'll show you where to go to do that in a minute. And then pull it in, and then once you've got your email all saved or all set and ready to go, you can attach a document if you want, and then you can come down here and click send. And what will happen is an individual email will be sent to each of the selected people. They won't know that anyone else got the same email, and they will each receive the email, and it will be individually addressed. So it will say, hello, Alan, hello, Bill, hello, Bob, so on and so forth. So that's how you can send emails from within Claritysoft out and be able to do that. You can create and save templates, and then they would appear here. You can have different templates, like if you send out fairly standard emails to people, then you can pull templates in and quickly click send. So it's all done, and you can pull those fields in. For email templates and for email signature, you go to settings, and under there you'll see email templates where you can create and save templates. Email signatures, you create and save signatures. Now, just to help you as well, we've got a online help system. You can click on the question mark, support portal, and go there. You can search for topics. And this branch is over here, so you can go over here and kind of search through topics. You can search for topics, and then we have a huge library of video tutorials. If you click here, and then when you get there, there's a tab that says videos. It'll have all of our recordings for all our webinars. So go explore that, because we have all these different topics. Many of the topics that you search for will have a short explanation video as well. So use our support system. It is very helpful. And a lot of times if people email me questions about things, I go to the support system and send them a link to a video to watch, because I know that pictures are much easier to explain things than words. All right, so we've done navigation. We haven't really talked about all the modules yet. Accounts and contacts. Opportunities are your sales opportunities that you create with your different accounts. And the opportunities module tracks those sales opportunities, where you set up different stages, so then you can look and see who's at what stage, and you know what the value of your opportunities are, and you track a close date. So again, a lot of these are from last year, so they need to be updated, and you work with your opportunity record. Now, here's a reason why I want you to click on this file folder icon button. Notice here, there are 3 things you can click on that would open a record. You could click on Lacey's and it would open the account record, and then you say, I didn't go where I wanted to go. You could click on contact name and it would open the contact record. And the other place you would click to actually open the opportunity record is this one. Now, by default, when you go into Claritysoft, account is the first column, contact is the second one, and I think the opportunity name's floating around over here somewhere. I move these using my column settings, which you have available. Okay, so do the same thing. So that I was less inclined to make a mistake. But if you always click this button, the file folder icon, you will always open the record for the module that you're in, and you won't ever make a mistake. So again, when you open it, it's going to have fields of data that you enter, and you have tabs. And your tabs allow you to add activities and things like that. And you can see your account data here in the opportunity record and your contact data. You can't change it, but you can see it. So you go through that process, all right? So that you can track all of your opportunities, and then they allow you to see what your potential income is and when. So a lot of it's based on the close date. Quotes and opportunity can be converted to a quote, and you can create quotations in Claritysoft. And we have the ability for you to create quotation templates. And if your quotes are fairly, line item oriented, then you can use the quote templates in Claritysoft. We are in the process of developing the ability to create a more proposal-like quote. So that's pending, probably in the next couple of months. But we have templates in the settings that you can use, either create your own from scratch or modify the ones that are there. Then a quote can be converted to a sale, all right? And then again, if you're using the sales module, some people don't, because by the time they have a sale, it goes to their accounting system and they do invoicing from there. But you can also create invoice templates in Claritysoft if you wish. And then all the while you're working with all these people, you're creating or tracking all your activities. And the activities module will gather all your activities together, and it shows you when you go here your today's activities. Well, you can see that I'm a very bad person here because my activities go back to November, probably way further back than that. So this should be pretty up to date for you, because as you do your activities, you will mark them as being completed or done, and then they disappear from your to-do list, and they will go to your completed activities list. So you have different filters here that let you see what you've done and when. And again, if you wanted to search for all of the activities for a particular company, you can do that. So let's see what I find here. If I just do AB. So here, okay, here's a good one. I'll do Abbott. So if I type the company name in the search box up here, I'm going to get Abbott Laboratories, and then I can see all the activities I've ever done with Abbott Laboratories that are completed activities. There's 89 of them. You can do filters here. You can do advanced searches here, and save searches. So all the same techniques are available in this module. In the activities module, it does default to your name, okay, which is probably good, but you could search, you know, if you were a manager or something, you could search for other people's activities and view them. And then activities also can be pulled out into reports. So you have these different filters to see your information. Future activities are ones that are scheduled for out into the future. Okay, so I've got some coming up here, all the way up to December of this year. So I have those. So it lets you see and go again, explore the filters. That's a big thing to be able to do in a database, is just getting the data to be what you want to see. So practice with the filters and set up your columns so you're seeing the data that you want to see. Now, leads module. Leads module is optional. It's possible if your company is set up, you're not using it, so don't panic if you don't see it. But the leads module allows you to put in new leads that you might pick up at different places. You might go to some sort of event, a networking event, a trade show, you know, all kinds of different places where you might meet somebody, pick up their business card and bring it back. Or if you get a list of people, you might bring a whole list back and you can import it into the leads module. Another way that you can bring information into the leads module, if you have a website with a web form that people fill in, it can be connected to Claritysoft and the data can come from your website form into the leads module. So those are all possible ways of getting the information in. Or you can do it manually, which is what we're going to do. So if I am here, again, I have my list of leads up here, filters. New leads, working leads for the status, and then I can change if a lead doesn't go anywhere, I can close it. And if it does go somewhere, we do a process called converting it. So then I would know when it was converted. So these filters, again, you want to look at these up at the top. If I chose created this month, I would get nothing because nothing has been added so far this year. So it defaults to new. Again, you also can select users. And I want to add a new lead. So if I quickly type in something here. So I would put all this information in. Now, here's another thing I do want to mention because this sometimes confuses people. I type the first and last name into what looks like one field. It's not storing it that way. If I click on the link for contact, notice Susan's in the first name field and Arnold is in the last name field. We've set it up so that when you type and you type the space between the first and last name, Claritysoft knows to split it out. So you can have, you can define a prefix in settings. Your admin person can. You can define a list of suffixes too, if you need those, and then you can type a middle initial. So if I type that in here, when I click save, notice it adds middle initial. So I just want to clarify that because a lot of people get confused on that. I get that question a lot. Salutation here is what you call the person. Do they have a nickname? You put the nickname here. And I'm just trying to put some information here because it transfers. Another thing I'll mention here with phone numbers, because your data a lot of times is coming from other sources, either other CRMs or spreadsheets or whatever, the format of the phone number may be different. You might have parentheses, you might have dots, you might have nothing. My suggestion is to get your phone numbers in a consistent format so that when people look at phone numbers in the list, it just makes sense. That involves some extra data cleanup, but I think in the long run, it's worth it. Okay, so that's enough there. Now, product interest. I do want to fill this in. I want to say that this person's interested in product A, product B. Their market segment. Status is new. We have a stage field that you can define. You can set what stage you're at and continue to change it. Quality you can define. Lead source you can define. How did they come to you? Maybe they were a cold call. And then you're the owner. So if I come down here and just click save, what's going to happen is I'm going to then see the person's name go up here to the top with the company name, and then I see my tabs. And I can then begin to add activities. So I'm going to very quickly add a closed activity and log activity up here. Green button mean the same thing. So I'm going to say I called Susan and I did it today, and I'm going to type my garbage notes in the interest of time. But you're going to put really good notes. So I'm going to save it. And now under this closed activities tab is my initial call. Well, let's say I also scheduled to call back. That's a new activity or open activity. And I can either click this button up here, or I can click this button and then click the plus sign. Either way gets you to the same place. So follow up. And let's say I want to do this on the 14th. And then you can set a time, doesn't matter what time. And you can show it on your calendar, which will place it on your Claritysoft calendar. And then you can put any notes in here of things you want to discuss in this follow-up call. So I have an open activity for the 14th. I have a completed or finished activity for today. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to look up a lead, an account, and you're going to start to create your activities. You're going to make phone calls, you're going to send emails, all those things, and then all those activities get saved and tracked. So if I jump to the activities module real quick, and I go to future activities, and here is Tuesday company. No, that's not it. Where is it? Here it is down here. Tuesday company follow-up call. And notice that this has asterisks next to it. This is another thing to know. This means it's a lead, okay? So when you're creating activities in the leads module and they show up here in the activities module, anyone that has an asterisk in front of it indicates it's coming from the leads module. Anything else is an account contact. So it's there as I built it in the leads module. So let's speed ahead here. Susan has decided to move forward. And so notice Tuesday company, because it was at the end of the list, I just typed it to find it. And what I want to do is convert this lead. So before I convert it, I would open the record, make sure I've filled everything in that needs to be filled in, because the data is going to transfer. So if I'm missing something, I want to make sure it's filled in. I'm going to click on this button here called a row action button, convert lead. It says, okay, I'm going to do this. Now, it is finding another Tuesday company in accounts, so it is finding that, and it is no owner, but I'm not going to use this one. And so what I'm going to do, if there is a duplicate, but you know it's in a different location, I'm just going to put it in Cleveland, the city. Okay, so it will create a different record for it, and the site field is used to make it different. So the contact is Susan, it's assigned to me, and I'm going to create an opportunity all at the same time. So now, notice that my Tuesday company disappeared. It didn't really disappear, it's just no longer new. If I go to converted, there it is. Okay, this is the one I just created, and it was converted today. So when you do this and you see it disappear, you just need to go look at the converted filter and you'll see it there. So don't panic that it went away, because this is now, it will stay in leads, but you're not going to come back and work here on the Tuesday company here anymore. You're done with it. you're going to go to accounts and work with it there. And so I also am not going to find it here until I go to all accounts. Yeah, if you can't find something that you know is there, check your filters. That's usually the problem. So here's Tuesday Company is the old one. This one is the one I just created, and notice it has Cleveland next to it. So this is how I can differentiate them, okay? Now, if I click on this button, this is called the expand button. I see the contacts. I see the call that I have scheduled. I see the call that I made. And I come over here to opportunities, and I see the opportunity record that the system created, and I can open it. So now I go to my opportunity, and I can say this is new business. I'm at the, well, let's say we're on the presentation stage. I'm going to move us along here. The opportunity will create a number, but if you want to create it, name it, you may call it big project, whatever makes sense. And then you can type in a number for it, whatever it's worth. And your stages, the probability will go along with your stages. So as you change it, the probability, that's set up in settings by the person who set up your database, okay? And then the close date, this is an important one to keep up to date. It's going to default to the current date, but you want to say, well, I'm hoping, let's just hope to close this by the end of the month. You know your lead time, so you would fill that in. And then this you can continue to change. So I've got that. I'm going to click Save down here. And again, you've got that. And then you can add activities here in the opportunity. So if I added another call or meeting, I can do it really quickly. Now it's showing in the opportunity the activities that I'm doing, but it's also going to show at the account level, all right? Once I have this opportunity going, I can convert it to a quote. So I can click on that row action button, convert to quotation. Notice I could go directly to a sale. So you can do the process you need to follow. So if I do a quote, it's going to convert it. And then right now I've got the stage at send a quote. So I'm going to go to quotations, and then I will find my quote here, and I would send out my quote. Here it is. And I can go to the row action quotation template. And as I said, we have sample ones here, so you would create your own and name it. And then I can preview it so you can see that. And again, you may not use quotes. Everybody's different. So you don't have to use quotes. You don't have to use sales. You decide, and then those different modules can be turned on and off. So here's a sample quote. And once you've previewed it, then you can say, I want to email it. And it will pull up the person's email. You have a little text in here. You can change this. And then your quote is attached as a PDF file down here. And you send it off to your person. So very quick and easy to do once you have things set up. And then you would wait to hear back on your quote, and then you can go back to your opportunity and move it to the next stage, you know, whether it's moving forward or not. And then once you win the opportunity, you can either convert it to a sale from opportunities, or you can convert the quote to a sale. It's whichever one has the most accurate numbers in it. So that's the process that you can follow. And like I said, depending on your company, you may or may not use all these different modules in the system. And so with that, thanks everybody for showing up today, and hopefully we've gotten you off to a good start. So have a good day.